The Mindbuzz, now partnered with My Grito Industries.
3, 2, 1. Joseph Valadez, thank you for being on the podcast. I appreciate you.
Thank you for having me, my brother.
Yeah, thanks for coming out. And you have, like I said before, you coming on before the recording, you've gone viral. There's been several articles written about you. And so I want to hear your story. For the past years, you've been going to school, getting your master's. Before that, you've gotten your bachelor's degree. What were you studying? And before that, what type of life did you live, and how did you overcome all that great stuff?
Well, I was born and raised in the county of Orange here in Southern California. And I'm a baby boomer. And I always tell people, well, during my lifetime, I've experienced JFK being killed. I was in kindergarten when that happened.
Whoa.
I remember when his brother Bobby got killed.
Right.
Martin Luther King got killed. The Civil Rights era. The walkout, the Chicano walkout, the Vietnam era, Malcolm getting killed, all that I've witnessed as a kid growing up, and especially the civil rights, right? People fail to realize that we were just a part of that as my African American brothers, right, and affected by civil rights. I say that because look, and I have to say this before. Every time I share, and I get asked to share all across Southern California because I'm in recovery, and I do that on the side too. I do this for no monetary gain, and I always tell people, look, man, I ain't got no animosities, I ain't got no hatred, or I ain't got no grudges towards anybody or anything. I don't glorify my drug use, or do I glorify my prison time? But this is my story. And in recovery, sometimes I say it raw and uncut, so I'll try to keep the cussing down. I tend to get a little excited, and I'll drop the F-bombs and everything else. I'll keep it
That's okay.
PG.
Yeah.
You're good on this show.
Yeah, that's okay.
Well, I wasn't too sure. I forgot to honest.
Yeah.
But those were the days, mind you. So how about this one? I'm in kindergarten, and I go home, and I ask my mom what a wetback was. Now, mind you, this is 1963, and she blew it. She threw me in the car, and back then, it was cool. The kids were able to walk to and from school for a distance and not get hassled or molested or whatever you want to call it. Unfortunately, this is not the case today in some particular areas. Yeah. But in my area, it was a predominant Mexican American working class neighborhood, right? That neighborhood was specifically built for returning servicemen from World War II in Korea, and all the common denominator in that housing tract, 450 houses, was they were all veterans, and they were all Mexican American veterans. There was maybe 10 families that were white. The rest were all Mexican Americans. So mind you, here I am. I come home in kindergarten. It's an all-white school, and my mom takes me over there after I ask that, and of course they didn't do nothing. I only say that because that was the beginning of what I had to endure from kindergarten, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, eighth, junior high, and high school. All them years.
Wow.
And again, I ain't got no hatred.
Yeah.
And I got nothing, no animosities or grudges. But again, this is my story, and this is how it was. And and in my latter years, I would say towards the fifth grade, sixth grade, I started congregating more and more with guys my age from my neighborhood. Now, I always hate how society puts the term gang, but this is me. We congregated more for protection because by ourselves we were always getting beat up. But there was the old adage that there's strength in numbers, and that's how we tended to stay together, and that's how it was from about the fifth, sixth grade. And of course, this is the '60s, the latter '60s, mid '60s. There was a lot of drugs. There was a lot of drugs in my neighborhood, particularly this is a hippie era, so you had a lot of marijuana, a lot of pills, a lot of even heroin. But heroin was looked at, as real taboo, and I remember my mom always telling, because at that time I remember as a kid, I remember I had uncles and cousins living in my neighborhood that were using, and my mom would always say it in a disgusting manner in Spanish, about being one of them, and of course I started using drugs. I come from a big family. My mom had nine sisters and seven brothers, and my dad had seven brothers and two sisters. And every time we had family gatherings, and all my aunts and uncles had an average of seven or eight kids. And so when we had family gatherings, I don't know, you know about Mexican gatherings, but they like to drink.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Or
And so,
those, I'll
like
be right
by ten
back.
o'clock, there was a lot of empty cans, or half empty cans. And so, my cousins would dare, double dare, get the can, and we'd go around the
Right.
corner. And I started drinking about 9 years old,
Wow.
but I didn't start getting heavy into it till I was about 11, 12, 12 really. But I had already been experimenting with marijuana and drinking beer. But my rite of passage came in the sixth grade, going to the seventh grade. My dad told me they weren't going to buy me no more my school clothes. I had to go to work. And that first day at work, my dad's a construction worker, cement mason actually. He takes me, and I always say this because this was a pivotal point in my life where things started going south. Um, he takes me to work, and I worked the whole heart all day, and it was in the summer, and I don't know if you're familiar with construction workers, but there's not a construction working site after work that they all congregate and start drinking.
Yeah.
I haven't seen one yet, especially if there were Mexicans involved, right? And the typical, they pass a hat, and my dad went the first day. He comes back and he throws beer to everybody, and he throws me a soda. And I look at him, okay, cool. The second day, the same thing happened, but this time my uncle went, and my uncle he throws everybody a beer, and when it came to me, he threw me a beer,
Wow.
right? And I look at my dad, and I look at my uncle, and then my dad's looking at me like if looks could kill, like I'd had 1,000 deaths. And then he's looking at my dad, and then my uncle goes, "What? He did a man's job. Now he gets a man's drink." And my dad didn't say shit. My dad didn't say shit. And that was the green light for me to start drinking full time and start using full time.
And you were 12 years old, you said?
I was in the sixth grade going to the
Wow.
seventh, so I would think, yeah, let's see,
Yeah,
that's
like
sixth grade.
12, like 11 or 12.
Yeah.
Yeah.
12.
Yeah.
I think that was the summer of 68, 69, 69. And so, of course, I got money, and now I'm experimenting with pills, every barbiturate known to man, and I'm getting arrested. I started getting arrested at 11 year old.
Wow.
That was the first time I got arrested. And then for the next At 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, I was going in and out juvenile hall
Wow.
for various fighting. For fighting, and back then, as I got older, the people around my neighborhood, they were all white. They got older, and now they're doing. They're coming in numbers, and they're getting us one by one and jumping us. Uh, I've been jumped three different occasions by at least seven or more white guys. And how I didn't get killed is beyond me. But I have got a lot of lumps to prove that to show that from them. And of course, we retaliated. And when we retaliated, of course, um, we were the instigators, right? So in all them years, we started. I always tell people, look, early on, um, I didn't make my stripes fighting other Mexican neighborhoods like in some cases today. I earned my stripes running all them. Um, well, they were using the Confederate flag and all that other stuff, Nazi
Wow.
flags, and we ran them all out.
Wow.
Wow.
And this was back
And
in,
even back then.
wow, like at the end of the 60s, early 70s.
Yeah, they were
Damn.
using it still then.
Wow.
And as the years went by, I like to think, and no, I know for a fact it was getting more racial harmony. But when, of course, when Trump came in power, all the people who were hiding in the woodwork, that were hiding in the closet, they all came out of the woodwork.
Yeah.
That's how we got the term Karen. You never heard the term Karen in all that time, not till he came to power.
Yeah.
It's true.
Not till
Made it a
2016.
regular word in our lexicon.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm putting in work. 11, 12, going in and out of juvenile hall. Um, and sometimes it was ugly. Sometimes, and that's the way it was. At 18, I got arrested for a serious charge, and and in them years, going in and out of juvenile hall, I was I made all my credits for high school,
Oh wow.
and at 18, I graduated from continuation high school because they didn't want me in regular high school because I had already been kicked out for fighting, and of course I got jumped and I retaliated, and and I got kicked out. So right after I graduated from continuation high school, I got arrested for a serious charge, and that's the first time I ever heard the fancy word expunge. The judge tells me, I remember like it was yesterday. The judge telling me this because I had told my public defender, my public pretender that
Pretender.
I had graduated from a prestigious high school, ordinary where we go, and that's a nice high school. And he told the judge, and he goes, "So, but in actuality, I graduated from continuation high school." So the judge tells me, "Mr. Valadez, you have some redeeming qualities. I'm gonna give you a break." And mind you, this is 1976, and back then the judges would do that, right? He goes, "I'm gonna give you an option of either 2 years in state prison, or you go to you gotta join the military. But if you join the military, you have to sign up for 4 years."
Oh wow.
That was a no brainer. Of course, yeah, sign me up, coach. Let me go. I'm ready to go. Right? Fuck, getting them out of the pen, hell yeah. So I joined the military in '76,
Oh
and my first
wow.
duty station was Fort Hood, Texas. Well, let me back up a little bit. Um, in between that times when I started drinking, I had lost a lot of homeboys. I had lost a lot of. I lost two uncles. I lost three cousins. I'm at 15, and at that time I had lost them to overdose of heroin.
Wow.
And I told myself there was no way, no how I was gonna stick a needle in my arm. But at my 18th birthday, I did stick a needle in my arm. Peer pressure. Oh, it's your birthday, nothing, no problem. And of course, I didn't want to do it. It was like I had a fear of needles. I really had a phobia up to that point. And so I was looking the other way, and somebody did it for me. And of course, I got low. I didn't like it the first time. I was throwing up and whatever. I really didn't enjoy it. And that was then. So now I'm in the service, right? The thing with the case that had passed. And I went to basic in Fort Knox, Kentucky, and now I'm in my duty station in Fort Hood, Texas. This was about 6 months, 5 months, 6 months. The time I went to basic and AHA, it took me to go to my regular duty station in Fort Hood. So I'm there about a week, and I walked in on this guy. I walked in on this guy. He was cooking up some heroin in a spoon. I don't know if you're familiar with how people do heroin intravenous wise,
No,
but
I'm not.
they dissolve it in a spoon,
Right.
right? They add some water and it dissolves, and then they draw it up in a syringe, right? So he's doing this ritual, and he's telling me, close the door, right? So I close the door and lock it. Man, I messed up. He didn't say, he
Wow.
said, oh, I fucked up. I should have locked it. Right? And this guy's a sergeant, right? So
Oh, he's a
I've only been in the
sergeant.
military 6 months, and I'm thinking, they're gods,
Yeah.
right? So he's telling me, he's telling me, you ever did this before? And I go, yeah, but he said real shitty, like,
Right.
so of course my pride and ego kicked in, and I'm like, yeah, I did it. Then he tells me, don't tell me you're one of them. And I'm gonna tell you verbatim how he told me. So no offense. He goes, don't tell me you're one of them pussies I have to fix, are you? And of course, my pride and ego went in, kicked in again. I go, no, man, I've done it a lot of times. Shit, I only did it one time, but of course, I
Right.
want to
Yeah.
act like I was professional. But the thing was, I seen all my homeboys. I've seen a lot of people. My brother, I seen them do that ritual, and I'm a visual learner, and I knew exactly what to do, and I would see what they would do, and he saved me some, and I did it by myself, and that was like the beginning of the end because I got strung out. I got strung out
Right.
while I was in Fort Hood, and then about about 8 months later, I got transferred to Germany, and that was like heroin heaven.
Wow.
While I was in Germany, I have to tell you the story because this plays into what I did while I was later on.
Yeah.
I had just got out of the restroom. I was strung out in Germany. I I'd finished doing some heroin, and over there we were drinking the German beer. We were smoking hash, and this guy that was in our unit, we never wanted to hang around with him because he was like a buzzkill. He was like
Goody two shoes.
one of one of them drunks that
Oh.
that that all started shit, man.
Oh,
He
okay.
was a ugly drunk.
Yeah. One of
Yeah,
those
I
guys.
know the type.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So every time we would see him, we'd go the other way. So he's all drunk and he's talking shit, man. And this guy's from Texas, and the buddies I was with are all from California. I don't know if you're familiar that there's a little friction with guys from California and guys from Texas. It's always been like that.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. And so he's talking, oh, you guys from California, blah, 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 blah. I'm on a good one, man. He's killing my buzz, but he's going on and on and on. And he's just one of them nasty drunks. Then he tells me, and he calls me by name. And then he tells me in Spanish. And then he tells me, go fuck your mother. Right? Oh, no, you didn't. So, of course, I got up and I started beating him up, and I broke his jaw.
Oh,
Oh
wow.
Well,
shoot.
I got scared because that's kind of taboo in the service. Oh, you better not be doing none of that because it's like a heavy penalty, right? And then I'm loaded, and that's real taboo, right? At that time, you get caught doing drugs in the army. At that time in the army, they'll kick you out. So I panic. I go back. I run over my barracks because we're right on the corner, and I'm playing it out like nothing's happening. And somehow, some way, this guy got up, jaw broke, broken, and he's got a baseball bat, and he comes around the corner and he cracks me 3 times. Wham,
Ooh.
wham, wham. Right? And I got up on the first two, but the third one was a home run. So they ended
Wow.
up medevacing me to a hospital 100 miles away. Right? And
Yeah.
the doctor tells me when I got up the following day, he told me, you know what? Had you not been so drunk, uh, uh, you would have bled out.
Wow.
Right? So I remember him telling me that. They gave me something. I fell asleep. I woke up. There was a detective, army detective, and he's telling me,
Shoot.
uh, he's trying to ask me, well, how did that guy get his job broken? I don't know, right? And he's asking me a bunch of questions. You better, if you don't want blah blah blah, you're in big trouble. There's a chance they're gonna go to military prison because this guy's job's broken, and
Wow.
you know, I don't know. I had presidents of mine, Joseph from the neighborhood, kicked in, and I had president, don't say nothing, don't tell, don't give up the drawings. And so he leaves. Later on, I wake up and I'm looking through the curtain. And he's talking to the doctor, and he's telling doctor, I need to talk to him. This guy, and poor, a serious crime was committed. We think he had something to do with private so and so's job being broken. Blah blah blah. And the doctor said, well, I don't know when he'll come through. He said it. He just took a sedative, and besides, he's suffered a major brain contusion, and there might be a chance that he might have amnesia. And bingo, the fucking light went on. Yeah, I got amnesia. That motherfucker, that guy came for a week and a half and bugged me, and I just took to my guns. I don't know nothing. I don't know. No, I don't remember nothing. I don't know nothing. Right? That's a true story. So about another year goes by. That when that happened, I had about a little less than 2 years. 7 months to the house, going home in the service in Germany. I OD'd on a train,
Whoa.
Wow.
and I righteously OD'd on a train. And my buddy, when he found me, it's a long story, and I'm just going to give you the short version of it. When he found me, I was purple and I had the syringe still in my arm.
Wow.
But for some reason, I don't know, I left the door unlocked, and usually I locked it. Had it not been for that, me, whatever,
Yeah.
I probably wouldn't be here today.
Wow.
But my buddy saved me. And what had happened was this: it awakened me because I was thinking, man, that'd be a hell of a thing for the army to send a notify my mom or my family that your son didn't die in combat or whatever. He died on a train. He OD'd, right?
Yeah.
So I kicked. And in Germany, they have a lot of things over the counter that you could that's forbidden here in the United States that they had over there. You get over the counter, they still do. That helped me wean myself off the heroin, and that's what I did. And I got out, and I got out with honorable discharge.
Wow.
Wow.
And by this
I
time,
was
how old were
only
you?
out at that time 22.
22.
22.
So, well, of course, when I came home, um, my mom threw me a big party, and I go in my old room, and there's my cousins, and there's like about 3 of my homies. There's like 7 of them all in a circle doing that ritual.
Wow.
And they asked me, hey, you want some? And of course, I'm already a professional at it, so shit, yeah, listen, you know. And this had been about 7 months to the time I had OD. I never told nobody, my family, nobody. I never told them about that OD, and so that was kind of the beginning of the end because 5 months later, I did get arrested for a burglary, and I did get sent to Chino for the first of 40 times because that's how many times I've been to Chino. 7 terms and 33 violations. 40. That all represent going to prison.
Wow.
And so the 80s, 90s, and 2000s, I tell people I did the revolving door. And unfortunately, there was nothing. Nobody ever asked me if I ever had a problem. All that. Not that I would have listened. Uh, Nobody asked me for any help. Not that it would listen. I'm I'm in a 12-step program, and my sponsor always reminds me that I got here when I was supposed to get here, no sooner, no later.
Yeah.
So in this time, I got married. I got married around 2008. And I'm just going to go over this one because you know what? She's a beautiful lady. We're separated. Probably end up getting divorced. But I'm going to say I got married for the wrong reasons. My mom died in 2006, and I carried a lot of guilt behind her death because I was strung out and when I should have been taking care of her. And my last words for her last words to me was the house got raided. I had been running, and the my parole officer came for little old me, and he brought 20 damn detectives and made it look like I was some killer. And all I didn't do was not report. My mom had walking pneumonia, and when the my parole officer told, oh, he's only going to get 90 days, and she tells me, oh, mijo, don't worry, your mama's going to be here. I'm not going to die in 90 days. And unfortunately, a month later, she passed away. She a brain aneurysm,
Wow.
and I carried a lot of guilt because of that.
Wow. I'm sorry.
You know, I worked through that, but the words sometimes haunt me when I think about it.
Yeah, of course. I'm sure that it
And
never gets
and
easier.
Yeah.
and Trina came 2 years later, and she feels that void because I still felt she feels that void. I got married for the wrong reasons. She was using, I was using. We're friends today, but that's all I'm gonna say on that part.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you
So
for
went
sharing
in
that.
and out, in and out, in and out. Um, Fast forward, I'm 4 months shy of 55. A series of events started happening. I like to say my world started colliding. This all in a week. You know, it was too coincidental. Katrina had left me because I wasn't functioning. I was functioning, but my whole thing was trying to get loaded. Um, I had been bouncing around from my cousins. I got a lot of cousins, and they only put up with so much of my bullshit, and they would tell me I had to leave. Those are my truths. I started burning a lot of bridges. Actually, I should. I didn't burn them. I didn't burn bridges. I started blowing them up to the point that they were beyond repair.
Wow.
So finally, I'm with a childhood friend. He's a connection. He was selling heroin, and he had bought a house, and he needed a helper to help him do remodeling. And this is in 2013. And so yeah, so he was getting me loaded for breakfast, getting me loaded for lunch, getting me loaded for dinner, for me helping him as payment for my labor. Plus, he'd give me some money at the end of the day, and and sometimes he would give me heroin, sometimes he wouldn't. So same thing. I'd been there for a month, same Monday to Friday, bam, 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 same thing. This was a Friday, same routine, got breakfast, lunch, and dinner. But this time, he didn't give me no money. So I told him, okay, well, give me some, bring me out, give me some heroin. And he didn't want it. He said, oh, I just got enough to pick up, and 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 I need that money. I'm like, oh, Mike, you got money, man. Don't be lazy. Just give me some. But he didn't want to do it. So I stormed out of that house. Now, mind you, I'm not sick. I'm not sick. I'm not. I don't know if you're familiar with withdrawals when you're physically sick from not having that drug in your body.
Yeah.
I withdrawn in my lifetime 30 to 40 times, either in the county jail
Oh.
or in prison.
Wow.
It's an ugly feeling. You can't sleep. You can't eat. It's like having the flu, but 5 times worse. You're sometimes you defecate on yourself. If you're not near a
Oh.
toilet, you're throwing up. It's an ugly, ugly feeling. and you're gonna go through that for at least 4 days.
Wow.
Maybe on the fifth, 6 days you might be able to sleep. Maybe it'll pass. It passes. It'll go through your system, but you have to go through at least 4 days of pure hell,
Wow.
right? And it's all in your body, and you feel it on your bones. It's ugly feeling, and I've done that 30 to 40 times.
Wow.
So he don't want to give me the no heroin. So I said, all right, I left. And what happened is I found this drunk, and I robbed him for $20. These are my truths. And I come back 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. I know it was early in the morning. Bam, bam, bam. And I went straight to his bedroom window and I started banging. I got the money now. I used some choice words, and they start with MF. So he came out, of course, and 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 he gave me a piece of heroin, the $20 piece. Now I got to tell you about this particular individual is my childhood friend. I had considered him more of a brother than my own brother. We shared the same crib. That's how far we went back.
Wow.
We have done a lot of things together, and all in the name of my neighborhood. And he tells me, "Come back later on." I was gonna come back anyway, so I came back, and he's looking at me, and I could tell there's something heavy on his mind. Well, he's telling me, "Look, man, I love you, but what you did last night was a straw that broke the camel's back." Um, Now he's married another childhood friend of mine, and I've known her all her life. So he's telling me, well, she says either you go or she's gonna go, and I apologize. This is a true what I told him, and I go, what? And he goes, yeah, what you did last night. Yeah, she said she's had it. She's either gonna leave. If I don't leave, she's gonna leave. I told him, well, tell the bitch to go pack her shit, right? And mind you, this is his wife,
Yeah.
right? And I could say that because I've known him all my life.
Right.
But he goes, nah, man. And this is what he told me. And for that split second, we say in recovery, I got hit with the truth, that moment of clarity. This is what he tells me. He goes, look, man, I love you. But what you did last night, that's it, man. Then how you told me, because I told him how I got the money. Look, you're a two-striker. If they would have busted you, you would have been washed up. They would have struck you out, and you would have done 25 to life for $20, man.
Wow.
So this is what I'm gonna do for you. I called up so and so. I told him you're gonna go over there and couch surf for 2 days. I'm gonna give you these methadone pills and take them. I gave you enough to wean you off for 2 weeks. After them 2 weeks, go to a rehab and get some help, man. Because the way you're going, what you did, I don't want to see you in prison for the rest of your life. And that's when I got hit with the moment of truth, man. It's like, yeah, man, you told me the truth, and I did that. I
So,
called April 16, 2013, my clean date, because I went to that guy's house and I stayed 2 weeks, and I got clean.
do you think that if someone, like, because I know you were saying earlier, like, even if someone would have asked you how you were or don't do that, you said, you wouldn't have listened. Do you think that at this point,
I don't know. It's hard to tell. Sometimes
yeah,
we say, like I said, in recovery, we got here when we're supposed to get here.
yeah,
But it would have been nice to have been asked.
yeah. But you think
It'd have
when
been nice
when
to
your
have been
friend
asked.
told you it was your time, like you had come to the realization that this is it, like I either changed my life or
Yes,
something
yes.
happens.
And then all the other things that had happened up
Yeah.
to that time. So I followed up. As soon as I got clean that day, I started calling rehabs. Now, mind you, I didn't have medical, so they wanted insurance. They wanted money. I didn't have that. And the scholarship beds that had medical, they all had a 1 month or 2 month waiting list.
Wow.
And I called up the Salvation Army.
Joseph, what year
And
was this?
this was April 2013.
2013.
So I called up the Salvation Army and they said, yes, come on in, but you have to wait five days. And that was the worst 5 days of my
Wow.
life. I knew I wanted to change. I knew I was clean. I knew I was able to sleep, and 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 I had told myself I want to give it a shot no matter what. I was going to give it a shot. So 5 days later, on April 21st, 2013, I entered the Salvation Army of Anaheim, man. And for that, I shout out to the ARC. Then people saved my life, and it's an adult rehabilitation center for drug and alcohol, but it's faith-based. I could go on and on about that one, and I know we got very limited time, so I'm gonna go real quick on this.
Oh, you're good. You're good.
Basically, I entered there. I had been to church in 40 years, knowing it was a faith-based program, and I found God there. I firmly believe that people need to have some type of spirituality in their life, whether it's Allah, Buddha, Confucianism, Taoism, Christianity, whatever works for you, man. I tell people, what works for you might not work for me, or vice versa, what works for me might not work for you. While I was there at the Salvation Army, Joseph found Joseph working on himself. Did the 12 steps of recovery. I'm still in the 12 steps recovery program. I was there 7 months when the counselor confronts me and tells me, "Hey, I thought you told me you were a veteran. Are you a veteran?" I go, "Yeah." She goes, "You got an honorable discharge?" I so happen that I do. All I did that, you know what I mean? But I got one. She goes, "I just got off with the VA rep from Long Beach. And I didn't know." She tells me, "I don't know if you know, but being in the Salvation Army right here in the rehabilitation center, you're considered homeless." I go, "Really? I didn't know that." She goes, "Yeah." She goes, "I got off the phone with this VA rep from Long Beach. He's telling me that there's a lot of programs for honorably discharged veterans, uh, uh, for homeless veterans." I go, "Really?" She goes, "Yes. So this is what I want you to do. I want you to go. We're gonna get your discharge. We're gonna electronically ask for it. As soon as you get it, you're gonna go get plugged in at Long Beach. And then I want you to go to this veterans organization in Orange County, and I want you to take that discharge, and we'll fix you up for housing." Because I had another 6 months left, or I had another 5 months left, or something like that, before I left the Salvation Army. And so I did that. I did like she said. And when I went to go see this one, in Orange County, it was a veterans outfit. I'm not going to name the name, but I did, man. I stayed up a good 5 hours. I did all this paperwork. Now, mind you, all them years going to the joint, in and out, I never had the thought of using my benefits. Never. I really didn't think there was nothing available. I
Right.
was so blind to that one. So I talked to this vet rep, and he's telling me if anything happened to me in the service. And I told him, "Yeah, I was in the tanks, man, and I lost my hearing. I remember when I got out, the doctor had told me that I should go to the VA and get compensated for loss of hearing. And but I never did. I didn't tell him why." And he goes, "Really? So now I'm gonna put that down." And he goes, "Anything else? Were you ever hospitalized?" And I go, "Well, yeah, I got hit with a baseball bat." He goes,
Oh,
"Well, how
wow.
come you didn't tell me that? I'm gonna put that down."
Yeah.
And so I did all that, and I signed up for this free housing when I left the Salvation Army. I left the Salvation Army 2014, April 22nd, 2014. I spent 366 days there, and I went straight into a veterans housing. This program qualified me because I was considered homeless. I got 2 years of free rent. and they had everybody. They had a cook there, cooked 3 meals, and the only requirement for me to stay there at that veteran house was I either had to be a full time worker or a full time student. So I had seen this vet rep, and he tells me, "Well, you know what? He was like the job employment specialist, whatever." And he asked me, "What kind of skills you got?" And I told him, "I work construction all my life, blah blah blah." And he goes, "Nah, get that out of your mind. You're too old for that." And I go, "This motherfucker." I go,
And how old were you by
I
this
go
time?
like that, huh?
How old were you by this time?
I was already 55,
55. Okay.
right? I was going on
Yeah.
56. I had my 55th birthday in August, right? And so he goes, "Have you thought about going to school?" And I go, "Yeah." Every time I hit them 6x9s and them concrete cells, man, I'd always think the would have, could have. Everybody that's ever
Yeah.
been busted plays a tape. It's called the would have, could have, should have.
Yeah.
I wonder what would have happened if I stayed in the
Hmm.
military 20 years. I wonder what would have happened if I'd have made that left instead of the right.
Yeah.
I wonder what would have happened if I'd have gone to school.
Yeah.
I always play that tape. Let me tell you, I forgot to tell. Let me backtrack a little bit. Going in and out of the joint 40 times. I have to say, I always share this. I was one of them, and I'm just going to be real nice about it because of what I thought I was representing and what I'm not. I was one of them guys that didn't play nice with other people. And California has special timeout places for guys like me.
Mhm.
And how I kept my sanity is I read, and I read some more. I've read thousands of books.
Wow.
I've read so much stuff that I tell people I play a mean game of Jeopardy. I've read all the mythologies. I've read all the English classics. I've read all American classics. I've read
Wow.
all of Shakespeare, except three of his plays. I've read all Nietzsche, Sansu, Machiavelli. I've read all them books. That's what I kept my sanity. And then I'm in the service, so I read all the history of war, Chinese, Greek, Romans, Persians, French, English, all that. American wars. I read all that, and it played a big part when I started this other journey. So the vet rep tells me about going to school, and that's when I started in June of 2014. In order to fulfill the being at that vet home, I said, I'm gonna give school a shot. And I entered summer school at 2014 at Orange Coast College in Costa Mesa. And something magical, I always tell people something magical happened that summer. I thought, okay, this is supposed to be a condensed class, and I made A's on it. This wasn't that bad. So I signed up for the fall. When I first originally started at community college, I was using FAFSA, EOPS. There's organizations in the community college that'll help those students that qualify, and I did. My second one, two, my third semester. I did the summer, I did the fall, I did the spring, the fall. I get a letter. I get a letter from the VA saying that when I signed up for the for my hearing and getting hit over the baseball bat, they approved me for 50% service connected disability, and they sent me a $15,000 check, and then they sent me
Wow.
a check for the rest of my life for getting hit over the head with a
Wow.
baseball bat. Because I still get ringing ears,
Oh, the
and
tinnitus.
that opened up
Yeah.
another program where I went to school for free
Wow.
through the VA. The VA paid for my first 4 years, and when I made my well, I'll talk about that one. So so while at Orange Coast College, I studied. I couldn't get algebra. It took me a long time. I stayed there 3.5 years. I flunked four different levels of algebra. Um, but I ended up doubling, triple my efforts, and I ended up passing. I passed stats. And while I was there at Orange Course College, I made the National Veterans Honor Society 5 semesters in a row because I carried a 3.0 or better
Wow.
GPA. I double majored. I have a associate's degree in sociology for transfer and another one in American history for transfer.
Wow.
I transferred to Cal State University of Long Beach for my undergrad, and in 2020 I graduated with a degree in sociology. My last 2 semesters in my undergrad, I made the president's honors list because I made straight A's, and I made the dean's list because I finished with a 3.67 GPA.
Wow.
And when I posted a picture after my undergrad, it went viral. Um, this past May, I just finished. I finished graduating my master's degree in social work. My last 2 semesters, I made the president's honor list again because I made straight A's. My
Wow.
last 2 semesters, and I
Damn.
finished with a 3.75 GPA.
Wow. Congratulations.
And this past April, I celebrated 10 years of total abstinence from all mind-altering substances. 10 years clean.
Wow.
Congratulations on that.
And this
Wow.
is from a guy that used drugs for 43 years, and I was sticking needles in my arm for 38 years. And those are all my truths.
Wow.
Those are my truths.
Wow.
Throughout your undergrad, what was your motivation to get through school, to get through all those classes, to get through all that? What was your motivation throughout that time?
Well, I thank God I met a lot of people. You could not convince me. And I don't want to get religious or anything,
That's okay.
but this is me. From the day that I entered the Salvation Army, my God, seeing how tired I was. So he sent people down, whether for a minute, whether for a day, whether for a week, for a month, for a year, continuously to help me along my journey. You cannot convince me otherwise. You cannot convince me otherwise. There was a lot of beautiful people at the Salvation Army that helped me, that helped me understand the spirituality part of myself. Does that make any sense?
Mhm.
And it continuously. The things that I learned in the Salvation Army, I still practice today. I'm of the mind, if it ain't broke, I ain't trying to fix it. I'm gonna go with this same formula till the day I die, God willing.
Right.
But I do this one day at a time. That's what I learned over there. Do it one day at a time. Tomorrow's not promised. Yesterday already happened. All I could do is today is try to be a little better than yesterday. Period. And that's how simple it is for me.
Wow. I like that.
While I was at doing my undergrad, I met a lot of professors. And then I get it, it's the novelty of seeing an older student. And then once they learned my background, they were, oh man, I've had sociology professors over there buy me lunch just so they could pick my brain and from the historical part, because they all do research there,
Mhm.
right? So they want a first hand account of how certain things were during the, like say the Chicano movement or during the
Yeah.
civil rights
Right.
movement or during Vietnam. They do a lot of research, and I go,
Right.
okay, look, I don't take a fee for none of my speaking things, but I've been known to sell my soul for a good carne asada burrito,
Because you weren't
and they
reading
do
this.
that. They do that because
Right.
look, that's another thing. I always tell
Mhm.
people, look, there's none whatsoever, none whatsoever. I cannot emphasize it enough because I've had a lot
Mhm.
of people that come out of the woodwork and want to promote me doing this. No, no, no,
Right.
no, no. I'm not doing it for no type of money. Awareness, yes, but how can I sell something that was given to me for free?
Right.
Again, I'm in a 12-step program, and I listen to each and every time I go to a meeting. Each and every time I go to a meeting, I hear hope. I hear hope.
Yeah.
So how am I going to sell what I heard to an audience? I
Yeah.
can't do that. Not in good conscience. I can't. I won't. That's just me. I cannot sell something that was given away to me for free.
Right.
Yeah.
That's like selling to me. That's just like selling the hope that was given for me.
Yeah.
I can't do that. I
Yeah.
cannot do that. I go, okay, if you feel that need again, like I said, if you feel the need of you want to pay me? Okay, look, I've been known to sell my soul for a good carne asada burrito.
Right.
The rest donated to the Salvation Army or donated to Project Kinship.
Yeah.
That's good. I'm self sufficient. I could go with my own gas. I could go for anywhere from point A, point B on my own gas. I do
Yeah.
this for nothing.
And
Thank you.
back to your sociology teachers, I can only imagine how fascinated they would be, because you didn't just read about the Chicano movement and the civil rights movement, you actually lived it.
Every day, like it was a score. And it's sad. You know,
Right.
I'm a big proponent of having critical race theory taught.
Yep.
Look, I don't want to rub shit in nobody's face. I don't.
Right.
But just not forget how it happened. Don't
Yep,
sit there and try to act
exactly.
ignorant or act stupid.
Yeah, we
Because
can't
unfortunately, you
erase what
got 26
happened.
states right now that currently trying to ban critical race in the curriculum. And that's bullshit,
Yeah,
Yeah.
right?
absolutely.
I'm not into paybacks. I'm not into getting in. What I am into is let's have everything in a level playing field. What's wrong with that?
Yeah.
Right.
The same education you get in Beverly Hills, you should be able to get in Santana or San Diego.
Yep.
Yes, 100%.
Absolutely.
What's wrong with that? I'm not asking for that much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let everybody start at a level playing field. Everybody. I don't care my black brothers and sisters in South Central. Let them start at the same level field as everybody else in this damn state.
Yep.
That's all I'm asking.
Yeah,
So don't sit
absolutely.
there. I tell people, don't sit there before you start. I tell, I've had a lot, especially when Trump came out of the closet, when Trump was in power. I go, before you start, I'm currently a student at blah, blah, blah. And when I tell them my credentials, they shut up and they walk away.
Do you
That's
think
my fancy way of saying trying to get Karen on them.
like I get crazy?
Yeah.
No, do you think, I mean, obviously like you were saying, like, you know, that whole like, what if I would have done this, it would have done this and that. And you know, we can't live our entire life thinking what if, right? But do you believe that like if you would have had the right resources or the right, you
I
know,
believe that with my heart.
yeah,
Not
your life would have
necessarily.
been different?
Not necessarily. Look, again, like I said, my sponsor always tells me, look, Joseph, I don't know why you dwell on that shit, man, because you
Yeah.
got here when you were supposed to get here. No sooner, no later. That
Yeah.
was God's plan. I believe that. I believe in my heart. I was supposed to live that life up to the time I checked into the Salvation Army. I'll give you a good example. I'm going to tell you. This past Friday, I was up in San Francisco. I'm part of Project Rebound at Cal State Long Beach. Right? There's 13 Project Rebound chapters, and out of the 23 CSU universities in California, California has 23 CSU universities, and there's 13 chapters of Project Rebound. Project Rebound is for formerly incarcerated students or system impacted students. When we say system impacted, is because you were affected by your mom or dad going to prison or doing drugs or things like that, domestic violence, those that could impact an individual, right?
Right.
So 13 of the chapters took all 6, 7 graduates each up to a banquet that they had in San Francisco State University Friday night. And it warmed my heart because this year, then 13 chapters graduated 214 formerly incarcerated students, myself included,
Wow.
right? 30 of them had been lifers that had done over 25 plus years. And out of them 240, I would say a third of them were masters in their various fields. The rest were bachelors in the various fields. There was about 5 STEM degrees awarded at whatever colleges. And then out of the 240, no, out of the the third, I'm gonna say there was like about 30, yeah, about 30, 30, maybe more, 40 masters. 10 of them were accepted in doctorate or law school programs
Wow.
throughout the state. One of them was going to Harvard.
Damn, that's amazing.
That's
Gee.
And I say that because they didn't have that 30, 40 years ago, Project Rebound. And I got sad because of the, think about this. We know in California, even today, I think the last I seen was 67% of the population in the state of California prison system are made up of people of color, unfortunately, and that's sad. So I'm thinking, while I was at that banquet, if there was been something like this, even 40 years ago, there'd have been hundreds of thousands of my black brothers and sisters and my brown brothers and sisters that got lost. That could have been,
yeah,
if they would have had that seed to plant.
Yeah.
Who knows how much talent we could have made out of that
absolutely.
back in the days. Instead of, unfortunately, back then, California had to lock them up and throw away the key mentality with no rehabilitation whatsoever. It's sad though that I started thinking all the lost talent that, because I'm just one of hundreds of thousands.
Yeah.
I'm just one of many, man. I was given the good fortune of applying myself and getting that from the VA, and then I've been running with it.
Yeah.
Project Rebound helps a lot of people. It was just sad. I was happy, but it's sad at the same time because
Yeah.
I was looking at the historical aspect of what could have been.
Yeah. And I even like we have these conversations where, we both grew up, well, I grew up in a neighborhood that there's more poverty, and there was a lot of kids that were first generation here, so their parents were immigrants and trying to navigate, coming to this new country and everything. And now we're fortunate enough that my sister's kids are able to go to a better school than we did, a better do have these resources. And I tell her, like, the first day that we went to my niece's school, it's a private school there in Long Beach, and the first day that I went, I was like, this is amazing. This is great. I'm so excited that they get to do this and they get to learn about instruments and science and all these things in different ways that we ever did. But then it made me so sad to see the potential of not only myself that maybe had, was wasted because of what we were told every time at school, or even just
Mm,
the potential of other kids in my classrooms and people that I grew up with, and just not having the resources or knowledge of the power of education and other things. And it was like bittersweet, but it's one of those things, like you said, we just can't continue to live in the past and say we
Right.
could have had this, we could have done this, we could have this and that. It's just about what are we going to do now, and I get that feeling
exactly.
of what you were
Yeah, how
I,
to
saying.
move
I
on
believe
from
that.
now.
Make everything even.
Yeah.
I'm going to give you a good example. I'm going to write a piggyback on what you just said. And think about this. I tell you about the grades because this goes back to when I was in junior high. I mean, in high school. When the times I was still attending high school and they let me. I took 3 aptitude tests at various times while I was in high school. The first, I share this all the time. The first counselor told me, Joseph, you scored excellent in the aptitude test. You could be a good mechanic. The second guy, mind you, these were counselors. They were all white. He tells me, Joseph, you scored excellent on your aptitude test. You could be a good construction worker. And then the last one tells me, I remember, all 3 of them. Joseph, you scored good on the aptitude test. You could be a good landscaper, right?
Wow.
You see where I'm getting at?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course. These were people that were supposed to guide you into bettering your life, and they were just making you settle on these stereotypical jobs.
Nobody ever told me that I could go have the capacity to go to Harvard or Yale, or I could be a doctor or a lawyer. This is the '60s, so mind you, when people come out with me, oh, systematic racism, fuck you. There was. I'm a perfect example.
Yeah.
Miss me with that bullshit. And the other point I was gonna make, between 1964 and 1978, my neighborhood had 450 houses, right? They all had an average of seven, I would say 7 kids out of the 450 houses. And we all attended the same high school. We lowballed it to, conservatively, we thought, okay, between that era, 500 kids from that neighborhood. How many do you think out of that era went to college?
Not very many.
Maybe
And
20.
you say not very many. How many do you think?
Maybe like 30, 40 out of 500.
Lower,
Out of 500? Lower than that?
Lower than that?
10.
lower.
What? 5.
2 people.
Wow.
And that was community college. I'm the
Out
only
of
one that went
500?
from that neighborhood, my era, that's got a master's. So hold on. Keep that thought in mind.
Right.
That's just in my little neck of the woods in Orange County. Now let's expand it to the county itself. No, hold on. Let's expand it to Southern California. Hold on. No, let's expand it to the Southwest. So when I hear people talk about systematic racism, I say, fuck you. It happened.
Yep.
And it continues to happen.
Yep.
Now, mind you,
Yeah.
we have the numbers to make a difference. And it gets me mad when I see TV these days because I follow all the news and I follow things politically, religiously. Although I don't give my opinion to many people except in a small circle, and I'm not going to give it here.
Mm-hmm.
But it's sad. It's sad. And it's sad.
Yeah. It really is.
Yeah.
It really is because there's so much talent within our communities of black, brown, people, and it's just we weren't given a chance. We weren't given the right tools, and yeah, people are gonna say like, oh, well, you're doing the blame game, right? You're blaming other people for what you didn't have, but
I am.
Yeah.
I am.
yeah,
Miss me that bullshit. I am because think about this. Oh, we're not good enough to come up with a COVID vaccine formula, or we can't go to the man on the moon, or we can't put a piece of space junk on Mars either,
yeah,
or we're not capable of.
yeah,
Well, miss me that bullshit. We know. Given the right set of circumstances, given the right opportunity, we could excel just like anybody else.
Absolutely.
yeah,
Yes.
absolutely. Joseph, have you ever heard? Sorry, go ahead.
Again, I always have to say, look, man, I ain't got no animosity, I ain't got no grudge, and I ain't got no hatred in my heart. I don't. It's counterproductive for me to be that way. I did that in going to prison all the years. I was a stone cold racist. I was a stone cold racist. I was a stone cold racist for a lot of years. If you weren't of my color, then I didn't like nothing about you. Period. And those are my truths. And that's not the truth today. Today I love everybody. I'm all inclusive. I don't care what color you are or what you do or who you do it with. That's none of my damn business anyway.
Right.
Absolutely.
You know, being in recovery, man, I love everybody, man. And I'm a big hugger. Today, everybody that knows me knows that I give good hugs. We know the therapeutic value of giving a good hug,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
I forgot the name of the drug. It kicks in, and you get that good feeling.
Serotonin?
One cell.
Dopamine? Serotonin?
Dopamine.
Dopamine. One of those.
I was
My
gonna.
thing today is just carry a message and carry a message of hope, and and tell people, man, don't wait till you're my. If I have to, I tell people, look, man, if I have to be the poster kid of what not to do, cool. But at the same time, a redemption and perseverance and overcoming
Yeah.
obstacles. If I could be the poster kid for that, I'm fine with that too. If my story helps uh, inspire, if my story helps motivate, if my story helps give somebody hope, so be it, man. I believe with all my heart that's what God wants me to do. You couldn't convince me otherwise.
Yeah, absolutely. So what's in your future? What else do you want to accomplish? What else do you
My
want to do?
last and final goal, because somebody asked me why I didn't pursue my doctorate, the practicality is this: I've never worked for a paycheck in all my life. I currently work for Project Kinship, and that's the first paycheck that I've ever had, other than being in the army. All the years that I worked construction were all under the table. I was always getting cash, or the
Hmm.
checks that were they were personal checks from the work from the owner, not a payroll check where they were taking taxes out of my so out of the paycheck. So I have to go to work and I have to start building whatever in the Social Security. I'm 64 years old. I'll be 65 in August. So my last goal, because I can pursue my doctorate, is to become a licensed therapist. Because with the master in social work, I'm going to be a therapist. I'm in the process of putting in for my number from a behavioral state, one that oversees a therapist in California, the state agency. And once they assign that, um, I'll become what's known. They'll give me a number. I'll become what's known as associate social worker, and I have to accumulate 3,000 hours working in. Work right now. We're working under a licensed therapist, and once I accumulate 3,000 hours, I could take a test and become my own licensed therapist. Right. The going rate right now today in California for a newly what's the word? Somebody had just made a. Let's say somebody made a. They just got their license today.
Hmm.
You just got your license, a newly licensed therapist in California. The scale is 125 to $175 an hour.
Wow.
I want that. Well, no, because
As you
see,
should.
I could still. The professors already put me up on it. I could still have my cake and working for the nonprofit where I want to work,
Yeah.
where I love to work, and then still do the on the side, be a licensed therapist on the side, and
Yeah,
and
absolutely. Absolutely.
and I like they told me I already know the ends, and I don't think I got enough time to explain that one. But it's lucrative to the point that I could retire on that.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, that is very awesome.
But I have to get accumulate the 3,000 hours, and that takes 2.5 years.
Wow.
So you're in the process of getting that started.
Sure.
Yeah.
Well, I'd be a sucker if I didn't,
how,
right?
how
Yeah.
important do you think education is?
You know what? Working with kids, because I work with a nonprofit that I see that, and these are little youngsters, 13, 14, 15, that are considered hardcore, right?
Hmm.
But I don't know. I don't want to get in that one because maybe one of my coworkers might hear that. But I think because of my background, I've been able to crack some of them hard nuts,
Yeah.
and we've been able to work with them, right? And I'm not even licensed yet,
Yeah.
but they see me and they ask me good, and I can see it in their eyes, and I can see them working with the clinician. They do work, and that gives me hope.
Yeah.
Some there's some people that for whatever reason, I don't know, maybe because of the way their parents told them, oh, you got to go to college, you got to go. And, we know kids get resentments behind that. I think there's certain approaches, you know. For instance, I know my cousin They never really they would say there's importance in education, but they didn't stress their kids to go, and they went on their own. They never had. I don't know. Maybe but some kids don't want to go, and okay, well, what do you want to do? And, well, I want to be this, that. Okay, well, don't settle. Whatever you do, be the best.
Right.
Be the best. If you're gonna be a janitor, don't just settle being a janitor. Be the owner of the damn company. If you're gonna be a carpenter, don't settle for being just a carpenter. Be the supervisor. Be the contractor. Don't
Right.
settle for being less. I stress that. Although I do tell them, go to school. Go to school. I would prefer, and people go to school, get education, because we know the data says that you can have high school diplomas are out the windows. If you do get a job after high school, it's because you knew somebody that that did you a favor. Period.
Right.
So even unions want associates now, and we know the higher the degree, the more money.
Yeah, absolutely. Definitely. Well, this was so inspiring. I honestly, I it left me like inspired, I'm just thankful that we have gotten to be able to hear your story,
Absolutely.
and
Yeah.
it's great, because sometimes we do, and this is not me saying, dating you or anything like that in your age, but a lot of times we set time frames in our lives where we think that this is as far as we can go. We haven't accomplished X thing, by this age, and it's done. It's we're too old for it, or oh, it's already long gone dream or anything like that. But I think you're just this model of time is irrelevant.
Right.
You do what you want to do when you do it and when the time is right, and it's amazing.
I gotta tell you this. Uh, there was some kid. I know he didn't mean it, but he said about the age. And then I got a good buddy. He's a real big. He likes trivia, like I do, right?
Mhm.
I play a bean game of Jeopardy, and I told you about all the books I read.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Without skipping a beat, my buddy tells him, "Well, I bet you didn't know Colonel Sanders was 65 when he made his first million." And I looked at him and go, "Gee, thanks for reminding me, fucker." But the point was, he was. Colonel
Yeah.
Sanders was 65 when he first made his first million. So that kind of gave me hope.
Yeah.
I don't expect riches. Somebody asked me the other day, because unfortunately I've had a lot of friends still passed away behind their addiction or medical issues attributed to the addiction. And of course, I think about my own life today, and I thank God that I finally got my head out of my ass, and I'm on this journey, because every time that I've gone since I started this journey 9 years, I think I've gone to 20 funerals, if not more,
Wow.
right? Of childhood friends that passed away. I have a little shrine right here with all their pictures on it, for a reminder of me, what I have to look forward to if I ever decide to test the waters again. I'm under no illusion to think that I'm not susceptible. That's why I tell people I do this thing one day at a time,
Yeah.
one day at a time, one day at a time.
Yeah.
And by God's good grace, I've accumulated a couple of days of clean and sober time.
Yeah.
And but I got to remember that. There's not a day I wake up, I smile, I thank God for letting me wake up, and waking up not being dope sick. I don't forget. Today, at least I don't forget.
Yeah. And it's that constant reminder that keeps you going, and um, it it's that quote from, I think it's Abraham Lincoln says it. Whatever you are, be a good one.
Mm.
That's my most favorite thing, and I replay that all the time, and it resonates with a lot of people, including yourself,
This,
Joseph.
this 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 is what was taught to me in the Salvation Army. I tell you, I practice everything that I learned over there today. They used to tell me for a lot every like the whole time I was there at the beginning. It didn't. There's a lot of things that didn't resonate at first,
Mm-hmm.
and they used to say contrary action, contrary action, contrary. Every damn day I used to hear contrary action. Well, now I know what it is. You know, each and every day I try to be the best that I was than yesterday. Right. For a lot of years, I stole, I manipulated, I robbed, I cheated. I had people enabling me. I did all the ugly things to get loaded, right? But today it's contrary action. I give, I give of myself, and I give with a loving heart. Today I got a lot of words in my vocabulary that I didn't have for a lot of years, and I'll tell you the words that I've learned: resilience, perseverance, empathy. That's a big one. Compassion. That's another big one. Love, love for my fellow man. And the biggest one for me that all them words apply to, that I apply in my daily life, for me, is called integrity. I have what's called integrity today. For a lot of years, I'd never had that. I didn't even know the word. Integrity for me is at night when I go brush my teeth and I look at the reflection. I'm honest with that damn reflection because for a lot of years I hated that reflection. I hated and I lied and I told that reflection everything it wanted to hear. And I used to tell that reflection, you were a piece of shit. But guess what? When I go brush my grill at night, when I go brush my teeth and I look at that reflection, instead of telling that reflection you're a piece of shit, I tell that reflection you are the shit. There's a big difference for me.
I like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You know, I give and I give with a loving heart. I have to. Um, Project Kinship works um, with system impacted youth, formerly incarcerated adolescents, and young adults and older adults. Um, they're out of the city of Santa Ana, and they do gang prevention. And they're also in three different school districts in Orange County: Santana Unified School District, Garden Grove Unified School District, and Brea Linda Unified School District. And what that entails is that you have clinicians that work on there with peer navigators because those schools are predominant Chicano. I hate them other words. I hate Latino and I hate Hispanic. I always, since the Chicano walkouts, I've always identified myself as Chicano. We named ourselves that, not the government.
All right.
That's just my take on that. Um, um, we work with all that population, formerly incarcerated adults. Plus, I don't know if you're aware, but California did away with the youth authority, and so what's happening is that because they're doing away with the youth authority, they're leaving it up to the counties to decide what type of sentencing is going to happen for a young man or woman that gets in trouble within the county. And what we're doing, what they're the county of Orange County, anyways, letting Project Kinship do is they're letting the clinicians. Um, they let the clinicians talk to the judge. In other words, we get to go up there and advocate for alternative sentence for any young man or woman that we feel that meets the criteria that's going to work with us, right? If you're a good candidate, we're going to go to bat for you basically to the judge and tell, look, man, we're going to tell the judge, look, this kid, he's been doing A, B, and C with us, and we think he's a good candidate to go home. Because the alternative for that kid would either be 12, 12 months in a juvenile facility right there in the county. And we know what good is that going to do.
Right.
Whereas we're going to let them go home with an ankle bracelet, but they have to do A, B, and C,
Yeah.
right? And they get to spend it at home.
Wow.
It's been they've had a pilot program going and it's been showing good results. And of course, we, the the county, they had a big meeting about it. I guess they're talking about because of the results, they might be opening up their checkbooks to give us more money, but they want us to help, like they want to write on the success. We
Yeah.
implemented. And my director said, "Man, I don't care what the hell they want to say. As long as they open the paychecks, and they could say they could take all the credit. We're in the light
Yeah.
helping the kids. That's all that matters. That'll give us access to more kids. That's what he's all about."
Wow. That's amazing.
I love that place. It's like the perfect job for me. There's 5 employees that have done 25 plus years. We have an employee that was incarcerated for 46 years.
Wow.
Most of the employees are formerly incarcerated or system impacted, even the ladies. And it's a big family. I love that place. I entered there all last year, and I thought that it was too good to be true. You ever hear that adage? If it's too good to be true, it probably is.
Mm-hmm.
No,
Right.
man. No office politics, no chimosos, chismosas, nothing. No backbiting, backstabbing, none of that. None of that. And I want a part of that. At this age, I don't want to be putting up with nobody's bullshit when it comes to office politics and all that.
Definitely.
It's kind of eerie. I thought it was too scary to begin with.
Like,
It
there
really
has to be
was.
something wrong.
I
Yeah.
always put my ear out there to hear if I hear anything, any type of cheese, man.
Like, what's the catch
Fuck, I didn't
here?
hear shit. I didn't hear shit. And I'm thinking, what? Come on, these people, man. They're genuine. They're genuine. And for me, that's a reflection of from the top, man.
Yeah.
The director and the co-director are beautiful people, and they love the population they're working with. They love their jobs. I love my job. I would have done it for free, to tell you the truth.
Wow.
I had to get reminded yesterday, as a matter of fact. Hey, you got paid. Oh, really? I said, fuck, I'm not. No, man, because I love what I'm doing. I
Yeah.
love what I'm doing.
Yeah, that
And
old
they're all about the employees, too, because, sometimes it gets, especially with the gang intervention part,
Mhm.
right? Um, they're so big on the mental health within their employees, man. They tell you, if you're feeling some type of way, let's talk a little bit and take the day off, right? Come back and regroup. Sometimes you have to step away and gather your thoughts and then come back. Man, they're fine with it. They're more than fine with it.
Wow, that's awesome.
And I get to be a part of it. I love it. I love it. Again, it's like the perfect job that was meant for me. Eventually, I'm gonna be a clinician right there, working one-on-one with some of them young men and women, and advocating for them.
That's great.
Well, Joseph, thank you for your time, and thank you for sharing. And do you have any last thoughts, or where can we find you? What anything that you have?
I'll be there.
Yeah.
They have me doing a lot of things, and when money people come through, of course they pull me out and they want me to talk, and that's cool. That's cool. No,
Bring Joseph out. He makes them take their checkbooks out.
Look, I'm more than willing to tell my story to anybody.
Yeah.
Really. If it helps, again, inspire, if it helps motivate, and above everything else, if it gives somebody hope, so be it.
Yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And I do it with a loving heart, man, because again, not to say that I would have listened, but it would have been nice to hear a good message, to hear of hope, or having the resources and the circumstances to do this or that.
Yeah.
I'm fine with it. I got no regrets. I really don't. Like I said, I totally believe I was supposed to live that life the way it was played out up to the time I checked in the Salvation Army, because since then my life has been beyond my comprehension.
Yeah, and I think that's a really good way to look at it too, because if you're not looking at it in a sense of like I'm supposed to be here, then you'll be playing that game of shoulda, woulda, coulda, right?
No, but let me tell you this one thing.
Yeah.
One thing before we leave.
Yeah.
My first year, no, my first, my first year in seminar. Seminar is when the interns go practice being interns, because you have to have intern hours every semester for the master's program. They put you in a facility or a hospital or doing social work, right?
The Mindbuzz podcast. You could go ahead and keep going. Sorry about that.
Hey, so that first class that we had, after I think about a month, it was about a month and a half, the professor comes in, he goes, who here has felt that they were feeling imposter syndrome? And everybody raised their hand. They already told us what the terminology of what imposter syndrome means,
Right.
right? And there's 15 kids in the class, and everybody raised their hand, but I didn't. I sat right there. And the professor's looking at me and goes, Joseph, you're the only one that didn't raise your hand. You wanna tell us why? I go, yeah, I'll tell you why. I'm supposed to be here. I was supposed to be here a long time ago, but I just got misguided.
Nice.
No, there's nothing impossible about me being here. I know I belong here.
You're right. Absolutely right. Thanks, Joseph. Honestly, this was amazing and great.
Thank you.
I wish we could hear you 2 more hours.
I thank you guys for having me, and God bless you guys, man. Please continue on the good work, and let me know when this comes out.
Yeah, we will, definitely.
Absolutely.
I
Thank you,
can put it
Joseph.
on blast or on social media.
Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks, everyone.
Appreciate it.
Thank you guys, and God bless each and every one of you, man. And keep fighting the good fight, and stay blessed.
Thanks.
Thank you.